a message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib
Like I'm Gatsby. I need
in
it.
hand. Just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
So, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a different intro because this is a very different show. I've done about 1,000 podcasts in my life. I have never done one this early. Full disclosure.
7 a.m.
it is 7 a.m. Monday morning, Pacific time. The
Yup.
boys are up, pause, and ready to go.
Well, if it's this early too, we should be up there. Super pause. But that's just good health. That's good health for how young we are.
Yeah, listen, no morning wood, and ain't no good, man. Gotta go get that checked out. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, everything is alive and well across the board, baby. Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. The two faces you see are myself at Nick Dais 10 on all social media outlets. The man
And at
on the
Mr.
other
George
side.
Carmona.
Hell yeah, brother.
We're here. We're fucking
I'm
here.
excited. I'm locked in. I'm way more locked in. I'll be honest. George, you ready? Got my little vanilla frappuccino from Starbucks. I'm ready to go.
Bro,
man.
I don't know how
I'm
you
more
drink
locked
those.
in. Yeah,
Those are so sweet. Oh, way too sweet for me.
I know, man. But I went food shopping over the weekend, bro, and Sam's Club had a case of these. There was 18 of them, and they were $12. And I was like,
Whoa.
yeah, bro.
I'm getting that.
I was like, yo, I gotta get this.
Yeah.
Because I'm saving myself $10. When I go to Starbucks, my Starbucks order is $10. I get a peanut butter protein bar, 26
That's a good one.
grams of protein, and then I have my Trenta cold brew with 4 pumps of vanilla. Nikki 4 pumps.
Nikki 4 pumps.
That's the rock and roll, man.
That's the way to go, dude. No, I'm a more like the older I've gotten, the stronger the coffee needs to be. So I used to be like frappuccinos, and then I went up to cold brews. Now I'm at nitro cold brews. And honestly, like no exaggeration, if they came out with like coffee cocaine and I could just snort a fucking line of coffee, I would. I'm at that point.
Yeah, George be crushing fucking nitro cold brews. Every time I see him, there's a Dutch Bros in here. Look, right on cue. He got
It's
him
Cuban,
little,
dude. Cuban. This is Cuban espresso, little Cuban coffee to start the morning.
Hey, bro, last thing. Every time I go to Miami, shout out to my boy Eric, one of my childhood friends. We grew up together in New York, and he lives in Miami now. And the last 2 years I've been to Miami for UFC events. Every morning we go to this one spot, and we get cafecitos.
Yep.
And it gets the party going, bro.
Fuck yeah, bro. That shit'll make you sweat.
get
In
wild.
Florida,
You're
in
ready to
Florida,
go.
you start sweating. That shit's great.
Hey
I'm
man,
glad
we had
you're
a crazy weekend of games. I mean, every single one was incredible. Hell, I'd even argue that the Chargers-Pats game was at least competitive and close until it wasn't in the fourth quarter.
Agreed.
Let me ask you this. Where do you want to start? What would you say? We're recording right now, like we said, early Monday morning. We haven't watched no sports talk yet. We haven't done anything yet. What game do you think is leading all the networks, all the shows? If you had to pick one, and then we'll start with that.
It's got to be with last year's MVP, Josh Allen, doing exactly like it's crazy, Nick, that we put so much expectation on one particular player, and especially in a playoffs that doesn't have Burrow, doesn't have Lamar, doesn't have Mahomes. He has to be the face of this. There's a whole bunch of new stars, and we're all wondering, like, all right, how are all these younger quarterbacks going to shake out, and are they going to live up to the little hype that we're creating for them? fuck the little hype for them. For Josh Allen, we were literally saying that this man needs to score 3 times. And if he does that, and he's down in a ball game, like he needs to be able to bring his team back. He did that. Everything that Josh Allen did in that game yesterday, from like hurting his hand when he threw it, he hit the back of the dude's helmet, he got his fucking knee twisted. This dude is a soldier. He is the best quarterback currently in the playoffs. There's no question about that. And he had a game-winning drive in which nobody, and I mean nobody, in that stadium thought that they weren't going to score. Every Jags fan knew it. Every Bills fan knew it. And we just got to sit back and witness greatness. Once again, he scored 2. My trust me pick for this week was him to score 3. I had called it at 18-1, but before the game, I couldn't find that line. So I had gone into a different app. It was 30-1 on that app. I put it in, had the Jaguars kick the field goal, sent it into overtime. That cashes. That 100, bro. I was like, this is so alive. This is so alive. They're down by 3. The Jaguars are down by 3. Cam Little's going to kick a 70-yard field goal, and Josh Allen's going to go win it in overtime and cash me my 30-1. I say all that because we have to start there. He is the best player currently in the NFL playoffs. And that was a fun game to watch. The Bills win 27-24 in Duval.
I mean, there is so much. I mean, you just killed it there because I couldn't agree with you more. Beaten, battered, and bruised. The Josh Allen story. No, not that kind of story. I know there's been titles before titled that, but we're talking about something different. Dude, I am, obviously everyone knows, right? I bet the Jaguars lost. Got crushed this week. 0-4 on the picks, pending the Steelers plus 3.5 for Trust Me on Patreon. 2-2 to the unders. It was funny, right? We were talking about that trend. 75% of wildcard games outdoors have gone under. Yeah, since 2010. And then you look at it, the first 2 comfortably go over on Saturday, and then the game that everyone thought was going to go over goes under depending on when you bet it, right? Closed at 51, was as high as 51.5. It's just funny how that works, right? But, dude, what I was saying was this. Everybody knows that this was the classic, my heart says Buffalo, my mind says Jaguars. And I didn't want to make the same mistake that I made last year in the playoffs, where I was so financially tied to a Bills Super Bowl, Bills-Eagles Super Bowl, that, I didn't bet that Chiefs game when I thought the Chiefs was going to win. So I didn't want to make that mistake again. So, like, I'm getting cooked in the comments on TikTok because I posted the video of the winner of the Jaguars-Bills game is going to go to the Super Bowl. But it seems like the audience missed that part of the video, which is how the video starts. Because then I was like, I think the Jaguars win. And everyone's like, yeah, good fucking take, idiot. This aged well. And I'm like, well, first of all, none of them age well, really. In the
No.
sports space. When you're firing off 9 takes an episode, you got 300, you in the Hall of Fame.
100%. I was just about to say 300 gets you there, bro.
Yeah, 300 gets you there. Dude, tell me not. The amount of times that Josh Allen got absolutely smoked in the first 22 minutes of game time? I'm watching it like, oh, he's done. Oh, there goes Bills Rams. Oh, there goes Bills Super Bowl. There go the crazy screenshot parlays for 50K. And then it was really telling, the one part, and even I believe Tony Romo said it. Like, Jim, he's fine. He's on the sideline with his tablet. If he was questionable, if he was really hurting, he wouldn't be there on the sideline. He's over there just chilling, talking to Trubisky, so
not even riding the bike.
Yeah, not even on the bike. No blue tent, none of that shit. I think this is one of his best performances, bro. And the reason why is because James Cook couldn't do shit. That Jaguars defense, and I was seeing a lot of things on Twitter, and I feel like we're prisoners of this across the board. And again, I hate saying like, yo, are you watching? Are you watching? But like the Jaguars didn't have many primetime games this year, right? And a lot of the guys on their team, hell, I'd even argue Trevor Lawrence is a big name, but like not even the biggest name. You know what I mean? Like this is the first year where people were making the case on people that he was probably playing the best quarterback of anyone heading into the playoffs. So I'll still stand by. You know, like he was playing at a super elite MVP level. And I think for Josh Allen, bro, this was his best performance because he gets nothing from the ground game. Shakir balled out, who tends to be a playoff performer. He really, really was converting some big, big plays. And talk about a guy that had to fight for every single yard. He was doing that. And then back to my Jaguars point, I think a lot of people didn't realize how good this team was because they don't have a Jamar Chase. They don't have a Micah Parsons. They don't got a Myles Garrett. They don't got a Pat Surtain that's like flashy and good. But they just got a bunch of like, I would describe the Jaguars, bro, as if their roster of 22, right, like the starters, I would say they got 21 B plus guys. Like they just have they're just solid. You know what I mean? And like shit, the biggest name they got that hasn't played in 3 months, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen to do that, getting nothing from the ground game, and we've talked time and time and time again about like, yo, James Cook is the focal point. You could get him going. Like that team is really hard to beat. And I saw this one stat that when James Cook has over 100 yards, they win like 95% of the games that they play. So you see all these trends, and they get stifled. And then Josh Allen is doing this with shavers. Bro, what year is it, bro? Brandon Cooks is balling.
Brandon Cooks, 32 years old.
Bro,
crazy.
They got him for free. Like they got him in the middle of the year. Big. It seems like he's making big plays on like 3rd and 8s.
Yep.
Like he's making big, and even the one play, I don't know if I forget if it was before the half or like into the second half that got ruled incomplete because like the ball hit the ground, and it was one of those where like, I don't know, bro. Yeah, the ball moved slightly, but it was just such an amazing performance from Josh Allen, bro. And we said it, you know, we said the case for and against. It was Josh Allen putting the cape on, and in game 1, he did.
Yeah. And I definitely think that the fact that they came out of that game relatively healthy, and like I say that just because the entire game it was like, holy shit, how is Josh Allen doing this? And then you see Josh Allen after the game, and it's I don't know. I didn't leave feeling like, oh my God, this is going to be something that we have to monitor heading into next week. I really do think that the defensive side, you know, causing 2 turnovers was huge. I think Sean McDermott is starting to get his defense playing with a little bit of swagger. The thing I love, and it's the same in every fucking sport, mine is baseball. Baseball, you can't tell when people lift up the intensity. Basketball, you could tell. Hockey, you could for sure tell. And in the NFL this past weekend, it was at a level of intensity where everybody was flying to the ball, bro. Every time there was a tackle made, there were 6 motherfuckers around the guy. You know what I mean? So like this is exactly the way that, you know, you would want to have your team performing before you go in and play a team that's been resting. And I think that a lot of good things are yet to come of this Bills team, because I will say this, they had amazing performances by all the role receivers that you listed. James Cook is going to fucking go off, because when you're a running back and you go through a game in which, let's see here, he had 15 carries for 46 yards. You're looking for the moment to break through, to have a big time 20-yard gain. And when you don't get that in 1 week, you're for sure looking to get that in that following week. And I think they're going to rely on him tenfold this upcoming week. And you got to take the pressure off of the Brandon Cooks, the Khalil Shakirs of the world. Even though they're good for you, I think that this team, we still know what their identity is. It's just nice to know that their role players did what they were supposed to. And I think we're going to see a different version of this Bills team next week. That's my early take and assessment on it. I maybe Keon Coleman becomes more of a premier receiver. Like if I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm looking at Khalil Shakir getting 12 targets, I'm definitely going to start paying that motherfucker a little more attention. But we've talked a lot about the Bills here. I think that the Jaguars, do they win the division next year? Like how long does this window open for the Jags? They finished 13-4. Everybody's behind Liam Cohen, including that interviewer, the journalist after the game, giving him mad praise, the anti-vibes, which I thought was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen at a press conference ever. Can they replicate this year in and year out for the next 3 to 5 years? I think it's possible. I really do. I think Liam Cohen is that good of a coach, and with all the B+ players that they have, it's kind of a plug and play system in which anybody could succeed.
No, I agree with you. I think the one thing when you're looking at Jacksonville is that they won a lot of games comfortably. So we don't need to worry about one-score games. I won't be bringing up one-score games. They won so many one-score games, George. Like sometimes I can be annoying with that shit, but I really try to emphasize how important that shit is. Like full disclosure, Bears fans, enjoy this because next year, are you gonna have 8 fourth quarter comebacks? Listen, a lot of things gotta bounce your way in order for that to happen. So, to your point with the Jaguars, let's think about it. Does Cam Ward take a leap next year? Maybe. Second year, they get a better coach, right? Like, there's a lot. Does Jacksonville become a destination for free agents? There's no tax on it. Maybe they want to. Who knows? What's the Travis Hunter dynamic? Let's not forget, bro. They traded up to get that dude.
Yeah.
It sucks because the last time we saw him before he got hurt, he had his breakout game, had over 100 yards, went crazy, was a Patreon anytime touchdown scorer. Remember that one plus 300. So maybe, right? But let's worry about that later. Let's worry about that down the road, right? Last thing I want to say about this game, and I want to mention this for all the playoffs, and I understand that CTE is a real thing. I understand that concussions are dangerous. I also am willing to put everything I own that you are not going to see a guy fail a blue medical concussion test during the playoffs because those don't exist. The fact that Parker Washington, bro, who I didn't put him out as a Patreon play, but my boy George did. He tried to tell us, what was that, plus 370?
It was plus 370 for him to get 60 yards and a touchdown. He finished with 107 and a touchdown. I think 100 with a touchdown would have probably gotten you close to 10 to 1, somewhere in that range.
Bro, he balled out. He has legitimately become a problem on this offense. Yep. I think heading into next year, you're valuing him as the number 1 wide receiver. Even though Brian Thomas Jr. scored yesterday, we know about Jacoby Myers, but I think you're going into next year like if you're playing fantasy, you're prioritizing Parker Washington. Like,
facts.
This wasn't a 1-game sample size. Like, no, this dude's been doing it for like 8 weeks. He is a legitimate weapon. And the fact, there was a funny tweet from someone that I sent it to you, and it's like, yeah, the dude that cleared him had his overs. Because he gets up, bro, and does
like a rock
Thriller dance.
Yep.
Right? And you're like, oh, he's fucked. Like, that's bad. Like, there's some guys that get hurt and they walk off on their own power, and you're like, damn, what happened to him? And then you're like, oh shit, he had a concussion. Like, what the? That one, you're like, oh, yo, it's like, burn those tickets. You're not gonna see him. And then Josh Allen gets smoked on one play, bro. The medical temp was probably like, hey, how many fingers are we holding up? 3. Oh, you said 2? I said 3. Oh,
I see balloons.
Oh, okay, gotcha. He's
He
good.
sees balloons.
He's
He's good.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Bro, you're not gonna see like, dude, during the pandemic, right? There was 7 to 8 guys every week popping for COVID. Oh, they got COVID. They're not gonna play this week, right? Come playoff time, not a single COVID test failed.
Mm-mm.
They're like, hey, bro, listen, don't worry about it. You got a little sniffle and cough, like,
We're fine.
we're good. So
It was gnarly.
yeah, dude, yeah, like listen, I'm being funny, but I'm also being serious. You're not gonna see these guys get ruled out for concussions in the playoffs. Like,
Nope.
if he gets stretchered off the field with the Tua arms, the T-Rex arms, then maybe you're like, all right, yeah, he's done. Besides that, everybody's coming back. So just to put a bow on this game, shout out to the Bills. They move on. They'll play Denver next week. It's the first game on Saturday. We'll preview that on the Thursday show. George, the next game I want to go to, the Philadelphia Eagles. They lose at home. I spoke to an odds maker out here at one of the books that are off strip, and he told me, he's like, yo, we haven't gotten a single bet on the Niners. Like, nobody is betting them. They're hurt. Philly at home, the Jalen Hurts stats that we read. He's like, bro, we're begging people to take. He's like, yo, we even have 6.5. No one's taking it. Mind you, this game opened at 3.5.
I know, bro.
Nobody is taking the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, yo, I get it, bro. Like, why the fuck would you take San Francisco? And now, mind you, them and the Rams were probably the most logical money line favorites to win, right? They were also the biggest favorites on the slate. But, like, they lose to the Niners. The Niners continue to do it. I don't know how they're doing it. They even lost George Kittle to an Achilles, which, talk about another play that looks super weird. I didn't even notice that until I'm like, damn, they brought the medical tent. Not the medical tent. They brought the stretcher out. The cart. Yeah,
immediately.
The cart out.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that looked like a regular tackle. What the fuck? So he's now out with his Achilles. So now you look at them like this, right? No Kittle. No Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall misses again. No Warner. No Bethune, who fills in for Warner. You're like, yo, do the Niners just produce that? Are they the Pittsburgh Steelers of linebackers the way they are
Nick,
wide receivers?
no, I'm telling you, bro, it's something about the color of the jersey. It's the gold pants. It's like you're guaranteed to your hit power and your tackling ability goes up 6 attribute points whenever you're wearing the gold, red, and white. For sure. For sure it does.
Dude, I remember Eric Kendricks. He used to be one of my favorite linebackers from like the Vikings days. Yeah. And I remember I see, Kendricks makes a tackle, then makes another play. I'm like, who the fuck is Kendricks? When they draft him? Because like they'll randomly have like a 6th-round pick, and you're like, I'm like, he's there? When the fuck did he get there? And he's balling, right? Like, McCaffrey is gonna be, he's that meme of the dude that's like on the hospital bed with just like everything covered, that cartoon. That's how he's gonna look in the off season. This was another shocking win, another big win by this Niners team because of what they've been having to deal with. And then this game in particular also, bro. How about this? Brock Purdy, 2 turnovers. And after every turnover, you're like, all right, that's when Philly's gonna start running wild, right? But we're gonna have a new Super Bowl champion this year, bro. And I guess me staring at that plus 900, my gut was telling me, hey, bro, don't pull the trigger. Trust your eyes. Because this is another thing we were saying too, right?
Yep.
Didn't we compare it to the Chiefs-Eagles game where we're like, man, the better team is Philly, but like they just don't look good. And
Mm-hmm.
we also said like, yo, this was a good matchup for them to get the offense going and to tune them up. And you know what? They were doing it well. Like Barkley looked great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barkley was going crazy. And even like coming out the gates, 182 yards and 14 points on the first 3 possessions of the game. George, what the fuck happened after that?
What happens after that, Nick, is an offense that has zero identity as far as trying to get the defense to try to guess. And I'm gonna just mention the game that we just discussed with the Bills. Watch Josh Allen right before the snap and watch all the pre-snap motion. Pre-snap motions will tell you how confident an offense is in comparison to what the defense is lined up to, because those little pre-snap motions tell a quarterback everything. It tells the quarterback, all right, we're in zone or we're in man. It tells the quarterback that dude's blitzing. When you watch the Eagles, they line up like it's fucking high school football, 2 receivers on either side, basic route combos, and we've been seeing this all year long, and you never see sprint motion across the field to a trips and we're going to throw a bubble screen. You never see the type of shit that would get a defense off balance. And yeah, we're bringing up Eric Kendricks, old as shit. You know, Vikings, he's been in the NFL a long time, so I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to confuse him, but it's a new team. They don't necessarily have all their communication down, and you're making it so easy for them to understand exactly what you're trying to do. Let's go to the last play of the game, Nick. The last play of the game, 2 receivers on either side. You run a fucking double go balls and 2 in routes. I mean, bro, this isn't pickup flag football. This is the fucking NFL, Adam Patullo. And I will say this, and I'll be the first one. I was 100% wrong on Kellen Moore last year. I was like, I could have done what Kellen Moore did last year. This Eagles team is too fucking stacked not to be good. And then he leaves, and then I'm like, Adam Patullo, hey, bro, whatever head coaching job you want next year, you got it. You're about to win another Super Bowl because your team is stacked. And all you have to do is be halfway competent. And it goes to show that game in particular between the Eagles and the 49ers, coaches matter a lot in this league. And Shanahan thoroughly outcoached Sirianni. Sirianni, who's probably, he's going to start next year on the hot seat. They're going to fire Patullo. They're not going to get rid of Fangio. Everything's going to stay the same. Like the Eagles fans, I know you're upset, but I don't think that Sirianni with a 6-4 playoff record and a Super Bowl win is going to get a boot after a performance like this. It's clear what the issue is, and it's the offensive coordinator. So I really do think that that'll be addressed. But it was just a complete mismatch. And Robert Saleh, after years of being degraded for the shit that we witnessed on Hard Knocks with him on the Jets, has the performance of a lifetime. And he gets his team of just ragtag individuals hustling to the ball to upset shock. This was the biggest upset of the weekend, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And they did it with, like you said, with the 2 turnovers. I was just, I'll say this, too. I'll end with this because I know you're going to want to talk about it. Hey, AJ Brown. Hey, it hits your hands, bro. It hits your fucking hands. Like, I don't want to hear shit. And I also don't want to hear shit. There was a go ball, too. And I know it was windy or whatever. I saw him alligator arm a go ball. If he goes for it, it probably ends up being a defensive pass interference anyways. But he, like, saves his body by alligator arming it and not trying to make a play. He's gone. He will not be a Philadelphia Eagle next year. Thoughts?
Some of your best work.
Cheers.
Some of your best work. I thought you absolutely crushed it. I'm going to just, I agree with you on every step of the way of every point you've made. So I'm not going to disagree with you on anything. I just want to add more fuel to the fire. Let the Eagles start off 1-5 next year. I'll show you about winning a Super Bowl with Sirianni. They're gonna fire that guy immediately.
Oh
If
my
there was ever
god.
going to be a dude to win a Super Bowl and get fired the very next season after that, despite winning the division and making the playoffs, it'd be him. Because listen, Philly expects a standard, and they should expect a standard. This team is loaded with talent across the board, and it's unbelievable that there's no like jet sweep motion. There's no like yo, no, go back that way. You like, you watch the Rams, you watch the Niners, you watch the trickery, and you watch just the play calling and the motions, and dude, Puka lining up in shotgun next to Stafford and motioning him out for the first touchdown against the Panthers. You see none of that, right? AJ Brown, you are one hell of a receiver. You really are. I think pound for pound, he is a top 10 wide receiver unanimously. I think any list you make, he is in your top 10. Here is my problem with the A.J. Browns of the world and the receiver position, which we got to understand, once again, it is the most unique position in all of professional team sports. No other position in any sport needs three things to be competent in order for you to be successful. My quarterback got to throw me the ball. Sorry, the play caller got to make a play for me to get the ball. The quarterback got to throw me the ball. And then the five big uglies have to protect the quarterback in order to get me the ball. So I understand. I don't eat unless all of that shit happens. But when it does happen, I'm for the wide receiver, bro, bitching and moaning that they want the ball. I am 100% for it. But we'll bring this up with Caleb Williams. If you bitch and moan, if you have antics, if you want to paint your fingernails despite how you feel about it, right? It's 2026. It ain't even that crazy no more. You gotta deliver. Stephon Diggs, the last time he played for the Bills, dropped a legacy ball from Josh Allen that I've mentioned many times. And it's like, yo, bro, I don't want to hear that. And that's probably what Sirianni sprinted fucking. He ran like a 4.6 40 down the sideline to AJ Brown and got in his face. Like, what is it now? What is it now, bro? The goal ball, the very next play, another goal ball, and then third? I think it was third down over the middle. And it's like, yo, bro, come on, man. You're a $30 million wide receiver, bro. You're not Darius Slayton. You're not Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah.
You're a top 10 guy. You gotta come through there for us, bro. And for all the shit that Jalen Hurts gets, it's like, man, I thought Jalen Hurts played a really good game yesterday too. Jalen Hurts is probably like, as he's looking up Bible quotes to give us, he's like, yo, what can I do, man?
I honestly, and I mean, we're gonna look back at Jalen Hurts' career, in his entire career, and we're gonna be like, "Fuck, man, this dude was really good." Can he have been consistent with any coach, any offensive system, and what would that have looked like? Because he's just had to weather the storm, really, since college on all these different offensive coordinators and personalities. But I'll say this, man. You watch the 49ers move the ball up and down the field yesterday. DeMarcus Robinson fucking goes crazy. And you see the type of team that they are and the way that they're able to scheme up their guys. I'm going to be honest, man. It's just, the way, and we'll see the waves, right? Whenever you have a very, very, very prolific offensive passing team, right? We think about, I think about the psychological warfare it plays across the league. We're in a copycat league. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they made the receiver position 10x more valuable because everyone's like, oh, fuck, if we had that, we're set. So now the Eagles go and do that. When in reality, watch the 49ers go on a run here. Let's hypothetically say the 49ers win the Super Bowl. What does everybody do next year? Fuck the receivers. We're going to find a really, really, really good offensive line, and we are going to build our team just like how Shanahan built his team. And you're going to see the evolution kind of shift back because A.J. Brown single-handedly yesterday lost NFL receivers a lot of money. Because when you're that premier player and you don't make the premier plays and you are we can pinpoint you were the fucking reason, bro. There was plenty of plays that you could have made that would have changed the outcome of this game. It was a 4-point game. You lost the NFL receivers a lot of money, and there's a price to be paid for it. It's going to end up being him going to a shit team. Like I want to know what AJ Brown truly thinks is out there for him, aside from this Eagles team. Like, bro, you should be ecstatic. You have the best offensive talent in the entire league. You were playing for the Titans. Like, what the fuck? Like, there should be zero complaints. I know you're frustrated at yourself, but fucking pick yourself up and get back in there. Regardless, this 49ers team, Christian McCaffrey, man, there deserves to be a special section of the Hall of Fame for players like him. Because like he's a Hall of Fame player, first ballot, no doubt, but there should be like an extra echelon. He's that echelon. Because this man does it all. Finishes with more receiving yards than he does rushing yards. He was practically one of the best receivers in all of the NFL this year. And I just don't want it to get lost in translation, man. This is 3 years in a row now with this guy that he is the fucking standard for what you want at that position.
Bro, another amazing rant. As you
Just
were
the
talking
morning
about
show.
AJ Brown. Yeah, you're locked in early in the morning, bro. I love it. Listen, I think another team you could look AJ Brown to go to this offseason would probably be New England. Right? You mentioned the Titans. Maybe he goes to New England. You didn't really hear no antics from him in Tennessee because Vrabel's like, hey, bro, we ain't doing all that shit. Right?
Shut
Like,
up.
Vrabel's one of those guys. Second year quarterback. He'll be going into his third year, still not paying him. You can inherit that contract. He's familiar with the Vrabel aura and the system that they got in place there.
I
I think that's I put it to you this way. I make it minus 250. He's not on the Eagles next year.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
Oh,
I think it's like, hey, bro, listen, we can't. Nah, maybe we draft another receiver, pair him up with Devontae, and we just continue to build with the ground game. We got Dallas Goedert, we keep him, and we just go from there. But you're right, like the Niners, hats off to them, man, like unbelievable, and not giving away too much for the next game. They're 7.5-point underdogs to the Seahawks, and I wonder, bro, I'd have to go back and look at this. How many times has a team played the same team back to back? If you're Seattle, right?
it's an interesting.
You play them week 18, and then you have a bye week, and then you play them again. Does it help you? Does it hurt you? Like, I don't know. Because, like, the Niners were so flat in that game against Seattle. And, like, Seattle didn't really light it up either. They won 13-3. So, hopefully have an answer for you guys for the next time, but something to ponder.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happened. It's happened a couple of times. Chargers, Seahawks in 1991, the Browns and Ravens in 2021. They were separated with a bye week in between. But like this one's going to be monumental in that specific case that you're telling.
But I'm talking about, are those playoff games?
It doesn't say right off the bat.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, you played week 17 or 18, and then the very next time you play them in the playoffs, like, it's the same team. I feel like, shit, that hasn't happened many times, because you got to factor, like, this team had a bye week, or maybe this team, I don't know. But I just feel like it's a fascinating spot there, something we'll need to monitor and try to look up. But congratulations to the Niners, man. You should be, shout out to Mark. Mark, big fan of this show, has been a loyal listener for many, many years. He's from up north in Canada. And anytime I say anything like sort of like shitting on the team that the Niners beat, he's like, yo, bro, what about some credit for us? And it's like, you know what? Yeah. I thought, you know what else? Leave you with this. I thought that was the best Brock Purdy game.
Agreed.
For the adversity, you lose the heartbeat of the team. You lose George Kittle. You don't have no weapons. You throw 2 interceptions, which just felt like bad, especially one of them where they got the ball over midfield. And you're like, oh, bro, fuck, man. And you're doing it with DeMarcus Robinson. He had 100 yards, bro. What did he play? $1 billion to 1 to have 100 yards?
Jesus.
Like, you're not doing it with a lot. And again, with the trickery, the Jawan Jennings throwing another touchdown. Now he's thrown 2 touchdowns in playoffs and Super Bowls to McCaffrey. So, yeah, shout out to the Niners, man. And let's segue into the Rams and Panthers game, because for me personally, this is the draw that I wanted for the Rams as a Rams backer. I wanted the Niners to play, in division. You know each other. It's not as like, look, early lean. I'm taking the 7.5 with the Niners. I'm definitely taking that. I'd say Monday winner ish. It's borderline Monday winner
for sure.
So the Rams, right, come out the gates hot, and you're like, yeah, it is what we've wanted to see. And then shout out to the Panthers, bro. I think, George, to use a UFC analogy or a boxing analogy, it happens all the time, right? Where a fighter loses a fight, and you're like, yo, you know what? He gained my respect. He gained the consensus respect. And now you're going to view them in a different tier. That's how I would describe the Carolina Panthers. I thought Bryce Young played a hell of a game. I thought Bryce Young, even to the last throw that we saw from him to Horn, that just got dropped there. I think if you're Carolina, you feel good about the prospects of Bryce Young. You just want him to be able to put like 3-4 games in a row consistently, because he's been like this, right? He's been a roller coaster, and we kind of caught him on the up there. But the story for me is me and the LA Rams tickets that I got. How do you feel? Because you're on board with these. How do you feel? Let me ask you that. How do you feel about the Rams?
As I was watching that game on Saturday, bro, I was announcing a basketball game. So it was kind of tough. I was doing multi-sport. I was commentating live basketball on a YouTube stream, and I had the football game on underneath. And as I was watching it, Nick, I was like, ain't nobody said it was going to be easy, champ. Like, I was talking to myself like I was on the field, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a fucking Super Bowl champion, you got to fucking come back. You're not going to be blowing teams out the entire way to the Super Bowl. You need to make your mark known. You need to have a big moment. And both the teams that we have projected to make the Super Bowl, and if they do, it's going to be a fucking great, great, great Super Bowl. They went through adversity. The Bills went through their adversity. The Rams had to go through their adversity. However, I think it's just very, very telling. Everybody in the locker room, in the Rams locker room after the game, was asked, were you nervous? What were the vibes like? And every single player said the same thing. It don't matter. We got 9. And it's now evolved to the point where this is why he's the MVP. This is why the Rams team is so scary, and they're probably, at this moment in time, the scariest team in the playoffs based on their offensive efficiency and their defense, who I still think has the ability to kick it up a notch. I think this is a classic situation in which Carolina had put up a lot of points on them in the regular season, Carolina winning outright in that game. And Carolina, honestly, probably just matched up better than most teams do versus the Rams. Jalen Coker is actually really good. T-Mac is actually really good. The core that the Panthers have established offensively, it's starting to make sense. And I think that I just to, tie everything together, you got to battle through adversity. You do that by having the MVP on the other side. And you got to, realize that, hey, we need just 2 to 3 stops here and there. And that's all we'll need to win games, because we're capable of putting up 35 points. That's exactly what I want to see in a team that I have a Super Bowl ticket on, because if you can't score, which me and you both bet the Steelers to win the Super Bowl on just a fucking, the number, the whim, Aaron Rodgers, whatever. If the Steelers score 20 points in a game, they have a parade in the street. The Rams will put up 35 on any given Tuesday. All right? That's just how the team is constructed. I am really, really confident in the way that everything's shaken out. And this game, I told myself we're going to have to battle through the adversity. They did. And I'm glad they did because we've lived to fight another week, Nick. 2 more weeks. And then we get to fucking roll in a bed of cash.
Man, you are fucking. We got to do shows more often this early because you are on one, brother. I love it. I love it. I think the one thing that got me nervous, once again, Rams special teams. It was nice to see Mevis hit both of his 40-yard field goals. But they have a pump block, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude, not like this, bro, not like this. Listen, to your point, game-winning drive for Matthew Stafford. I think the game-winning touchdown to Parkinson is exactly why this team is so deadly and why Las Vegas has them tied with the Seahawks, despite realistically not playing a home game the entire duration of the playoffs as the Super Bowl favorite out the NFC. Because who you taking away, bro?
Facts.
They just played a game. He's going back shoulder, top fucking shelf to Parkinson's.
God.
Cooper was running wild. Adams came back and looked good. Was it Mumfield? I believe it was Mumfield caught a key pass on on that last drive as well. Kyron Williams in the backfield. Yeah, it was Mumfield caught a crucial pass of 11 yards. Blake Corum also. But, there's something about them that I love so much. But then there's the other part of me where it's like, man, did Matthew Stafford, you know what Matthew Stafford looked like in that first half, bro? Like he was trying to win the MVP. And the whole time I'm yelling, dickhead, they've already voted. It's over, bro. There's nothing you could do now. And this is something really important I wanted to mention because I've been posting the FanDuel odds every time. Oh my. Matthew Stafford now is minus 450 to win the MVP. What that tells me is this, George. It's getting out. It's being leaked. Yo, Mina Kimes was like, I voted for Drake May. Right? There was someone else that said, I voted for Matthew Stafford. These are getting out. The voters, they can't resubmit their award. So I'm getting excited because I'm like, yo, this is information that can be. That's why a lot of states like New York, you can't bet on an award that people could vote on. In New York, you could bet on, they call it box score betting. Hey, man, how many yards did Stafford throw for? Okay, what was his line? 245? Okay, he went over. Okay, he went under. It's like we have visual proof. We can identify what the number is. It's like during the Super Bowl, one of the biggest bets I ever made. I put $900 back when I was making $400 a week. I put $900 to win $300 on an offshore book that during the Panthers and Broncos Super Bowl, they were going to show the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. How do we judge that? Right? How do we judge? If I'm the San Francisco Bridge, right? If I'm the Golden Gate Bridge, George, and I'm like this, am I in frame? Does that count as it showing me? Or does it have to be completely centered, dead in the middle? So, how do you judge that, right? And I say all that because in a lot of states, you can't bet on MVP. And to bring it back to this game, Matthew Stafford, I would have pulled him aside and be like, yo, bro, you don't need to go this crazy. They've already voted. Let's just, how about winning a Super Bowl? That's pretty important, too, for your legacy, getting a second ring. You know the tables you can sit at there. But when this team is on, when they're firing on all cylinders, I'm shocked when they have the punt.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this team. And to your point about the defense, I like the defense, but you can move on them, bro.
Facts.
You can move on them. And that's the thing that's really
an issue.
However, I'll say this. There's no matchup in the NFC, at least, that you should be worried about the weapons. all right, JSN, they've done well against JSN outside of that second half that he had on that Thursday Night Football, which I'll forever be grateful for many reasons. But, hats off to Carolina. Hats off to the Rams. Survive in advance. They're 4-point favorites on the road in Chicago, and I do not agree. That is a lot of points there for the Chicago team, which we should get into. Everybody's been doing this, bro. The Caleb. You saw people in Chicago. The one dude was going like this, like, yeah, he had his fingernails painted with his boy. I don't want to beat a dead horse because I got a ton of DMs and a lot of comments on their NFL posts, and they're like, we already know what your Caleb Williams take is going to be. So I'm not going to say it. But when you're talented, people don't care. I'll leave it at that when it comes to that aspect. George, how do you feel about the Packers-Bears game? And how about this? Let me tee this up for you. Better comeback or worse collapse?
Worse collapse.
Yeah,
Worse collapse. Worse collapse. This was another situation in which I just fucking counted my schmeckles before it was over. And
I was on Green Bay as well, yeah.
I'm going to say it like this. I knew without a doubt Green Bay was going to come out there and smack them in the fucking mouth. And I knew even when they were up, this Bears team has done it all year, and this is the Ben Johnson effect. They're lucky. They make the big plays when it matters most. But I was very confident that the luck would have run out. And I was wrong. There's that play that everyone is already inaugurating as the top 3 throw of all time for Caleb Williams on a 4th and 5, rolling out to his left and hitting Roma Dunze on the sideline. Dare I say, if Micah Parsons doesn't get injured, it's like the whole what if game with this Green Bay Packers defense, who really at the beginning of the season, I mean, shit, bro, it was to the point where Micah Parsons had nowhere near the numbers that other sack leaders had, and his name was still like plus 300 to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I was like, what the fuck? And then he gets injured later on in the year, and we're like, oh, well, this is why. Like, he was a game wrecker, and he was able to prevent big time plays like how Caleb Williams was able to produce down the stretch. But this was a terrible collapse from this Packers team. And Jordan Love asked after the game, do you think Matt LaFleur should keep his job? Which, by the way, I mean, it's like, motherfucker, it's like, should you? Like, at the end of the day, like, I think you were just grateful that they weren't asking you, hey, are you going to be around next year? He, of course, said, yes, Matt LaFleur should stick around, but down the stretch, you need to make some first downs, and they were unable to produce any drive at that in the fourth quarter. Any drive that would have gotten them 3 first downs, they win this game, and they didn't do that. Way worse collapse, in my opinion. What about you?
I 100% believe Matt LaFleur should be fired, and he should come to the New York Giants. So, yes, shout out to that reporter. The mic is coming off the stand, baby. Bring him over. We still need a head coach. Yo, Matt, come here. We got a 22-year-old stud quarterback. All right, maybe the blue medical tent might be the only thing stopping us from 13-4. But if they want to disrespect you in Green Bay, come on over. You're still a young, handsome head coach. You thrive in New York. You kill it. Come on over. If they don't appreciate you in Green Bay, you take them to the playoffs basically every single year. Yeah, by all means. Now, on a serious note, I thought it was really, really interesting at the post-game press conference for Ben Johnson, and I didn't know this at the time. And it's fascinating, the mentality of players and the approach that people take. Ben Johnson said that the entire offseason when he got there and in the summer, there are 2 players that played in that Super Bowl between the Falcons and the Patriots. Grady Jarrett for the Falcons, and then Thuney for the then Patriots. And he said, I played them that game, and I asked both of them to address the team. so that my team can understand that, like, yo, it's not over until the fat lady sings. If you're even allowed to say that anymore, I'm sorry. You know, I grew up in an era where you were able to say that. So if this upsets you, just don't think about it. That's always my therapy session for everyone. But I thought, George, that was really dope, bro. Like, I used to watch the Al Pacino Any Given Sunday speech before I would go play. Like, everybody has that thing that maybe you listen to a pregame song, maybe you have a ritual, whatever it might be. But I thought that was really, really interesting because once again, the Bears do it. It's not over until it's over. And man, I was watching the game, and at one point I look at the live line and they're 15-1 to win this game, and I'm like, man, why don't I throw something on this, bro? They've done this all year, but I'm like, nah, Green Bay, the rival, they're not gonna do it to Green Bay. Fuck, they did it to Green Bay a couple weeks ago, bro. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The Bears didn't lead in any game that they played Green Bay this year until the end when it was over. And I think for me, it just goes to the heart of the Chicago Bears. And it starts with that quarterback. Talk about fucking owning the moment after the game too. He was like, yo, we know who we are. It's not over until it's over. We've been there, done that. We're battle tested. And the way he was talking is like, yo, these motherfuckers think they could go to the Super Bowl, bro. I love it. I thought it was a way better comeback than an epic collapse because it's not like Chicago got 3 fumbles that deflected off 9 players and then, you know, like, nah, man, they forced that. They forced the punts. They did, like, it wasn't a helmet catch, right? It was like, no, man,
Yeah.
they earned that comeback. There was no fluke shit that happened in that game where you're like, well, dude, the field goal kick, which, by the way, field goal kickers, man, I've been talking about this shit. George, so many people hit me up. They're like, yo, we got to get you to kick some field goals. Someone, I forgot I posted this video 12 years ago, me kicking field goals at this park. So there is some proof, but it was 12 years ago. You know, it's probably like 20 pounds heavier than I was heavier. So we do need to update that. But again, man, I think it's more of a Bears win than a Packers loss.
Yeah, McManus. He was always like my fantasy kicker too when he was in Denver because I was like, oh, Denver, the ball flies better. It was always my fantasy pick. He comes over, misses the extra point, and at that missed extra point, you kind of, at that moment in time, that was the beginning of the end of it just really unraveling, and then he misses the field goal later on in the game, and I don't want this Bears team, obviously, to win next week, but I kind of don't even want the game to be close. I know that this team and the way that they've been lucky all fucking year long, that if that game is close next week, Nick, we're going to be very, very upset. Because I just know that, you know, if that's their MO, that's their mentality, that's kind of tough to prepare against. You know, you're always told, get out, quick start, stomp on their fucking throats when you have the lead, and then that game is yours. And with this team, it's just not. And it'll be interesting because remember the one thing I mentioned, and this will be something that we go over again in the preview show on Wednesday. The one thing I am very, very, very afraid of with the Rams is their lack of ability to maintain drives, running the football, and not relying solely on big 15, 20-yard plays that moves the ball down the field like this. We love seeing it. That's how you get 35 points on the board. But to beat the Bears, because that's the Bears game, you need to run the rock, you need to control the clock, and you need to make sure that Caleb Williams is down by at least 9 points with 2 minutes left to go in the game.
Yeah, to add to that for the Rams, I would like to see them just maintain a lead.
Yeah.
Like, bro, no lie, this team should have been comfortably the ones, but they just can't hold on to leads. Last thing I'll say before we get into the Patriots and Chargers game, to Ben Johnson, and I was ready because I have my notes here from when I was watching the game, bro. I'm not going to critique you for going for it 4 times on 4th down in the first half and only converting it 1 time. And the other 2 times led to points all turnovers because it's technically a turnover when you go for it on fourth down, in my opinion, even though it's not really considered a turnover for the defense. It's kind of like it's like when remember the Commanders and Eagles game when they were like, if you guys do the tush push one more time and the defense is offsides, we're just going to reward the Eagles a touchdown. You're like, who the fuck gets that for any time touchdown? You're just going to decide it? So it's one of those stats where like it don't really pop up. But to Ben Johnson, I fucking love it, man. If you're going to set the culture and the tone that, you know what, bro, if we cross midfield and it's 4th and 6 or less, we're fucking going for it. Caleb, I trust you to pull some shit out of the deep ends of your backside, and let's go for it, man. That's our identity. We're going to be aggressive, and I loved it. Despite them falling 21-6, they came back, and then they did it. One of the best throws of all time. If you add context, the comeback, the rivalry, 4th and 8, the rollout to the left by Caleb Williams down the field. Unbelievable. And then how about this? Last thing, George. Last thing. Patience, everybody. Because week 1 through 10, we said, how the fuck did the Bears pass up on Tyler Warren and take this fucking idiot from Michigan? Loveland was not Kelsey, not Gronk, the greatest tight end of all time on Saturday. Because that motherfucker was wide open, cutting up people down the field, big third downs. Like, dude is balling. And now the conversation has been, is he the best tight end to be drafted in the last 5 years? Where weeks 1 through 10, you're like, these fucking idiot Ryan Poles, how dare them do that? So just be patient. Just be patient, right? We said Laporta, he thrived in Ben Johnson. This kid's going to be fine. This kid's going to be fine. So hats off to the Bears. Congratulations on the win. I hope it ends here. Hell of a season, though. But we'll see Thursday. Okay, George, last game. I'll be honest with you, bro. This one sucked, man. Not just as a viewer of the game, but just like as a longtime member of the Justin Herbert fan club. George, I'm ready to sell my stock. I'm probably going to sell. I'm selling low, right? I'm selling on the dip. I'm not selling high. I kind of feel like this is who he is, man. He's kind of like Dak Prescott-ish, Tua-ish, in the sense of like, yo, September to December, probably a top 10 quarterback. Can beat anybody. We've seen him do it. Hell, he beat the Broncos this year. He beat the Chiefs this year. Early on, before, they dismantled and fell apart. Well, not Denver. Denver ended up taking off after that, but I kind of feel like this is who he is, man. 0-3 in the playoffs now. Looks nothing like the guy that he is in the regular season. I'd even say, this is going to sound crazy, he got sacked 6 times yesterday. I didn't even think the offensive line played that bad. I think like half of those sacks, bro, were him just holding on to the ball and hoping these guys get open. I know it might sound crazy, but if you're the Chargers, you're just like, fuck, man, you're a $500 million guy. You're knee deep in Madison Beer. What more do you want, bro?
Yeah.
Defense balled out. Defense played really well, man. If it wasn't for if you take away the rushing from Drake May, and that's what makes him so unique, they win that game. If Justin Herbert could be average, and he just wasn't. I just think this is who he is, bro. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Some of those sacks, I mean, it was apparent, right? Vrabel knows exactly how to dial up a pressure when it matters most. And there was a couple of those sacks where it was just, he had no fucking chance, dude. It's tough. People don't understand how difficult offensive line plays in the NFL because, I mean, dude. You have a helmet on. If you've ever put a football helmet on, you don't get full field of vision, right? So you have to really turn your neck left and right. And sometimes these Patriots will line up and there's 7 individuals in the box on the line of scrimmage, and you have to decipher exactly who's going where, who's doing what, and the Patriots at the snap will then just stunt everybody. And before you know it, if you're not an experienced offensive line who has cohesion, this is what you get, and it was embarrassing. shout out to anybody who chose the leading rusher for the Patriots and the Chargers to both be Justin Herbert and Drake May. You probably made a lot of money. This game did suck. The one bet that I made in this game, because I so badly wanted to pick a side. I really did. I wanted to take the Patriots. I had put in 2 bets. I had put in a double result. I remember I said if you like the Chargers, this is the way to bet it. You bet them to win the first half and you bet them to win the full game. That's the only way they're winning it. Instead, Nick, I took the tie. So I lied to the people. I said I'm going to take a halftime tie and the Chargers, which was 26-1. Halftime tie almost happened. Neither here nor there. The second bet I made was both teams to each have over 1.5 field goals made. And I thought that was going to cash in the first half too. And the Chargers failed me in that front, only scoring 3 points the whole game. I say all that because it did suck. It was just not a fun game to watch whatsoever. I am not confident at all in this Patriots team and what they can do moving forward in the playoffs. It seemed as if they should have won this game by 30. Like this Chargers team was that depleted and couldn't get shit going. And I know their defense is I would say, if anything that the Chargers have going for them, it's like their defensive side is a little bit better than what they have on offense. But still, Drake May, if you were what people were considering you an MVP candidate, this is the performance you put up. And I know it was relatively good, but at the same time, bro, like you got to beat a team like this Chargers team by another touchdown and make it really convincing. And I just don't feel confident in this Patriots team moving forward. I do feel like their 14-3 record is 100% indicative of their strength of schedule this year. And we're going to see in the coming weeks when they're faced against real competition, whether or not they can answer the bell. And I think that they're going to get punched in the mouth here relatively soon. And we'll know exactly who they are. And it's probably a year too early for this team. They are a good team, but I think it's a year too early.
Yeah, watching that game yesterday, bro, just to put a bow on this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, I really can't stand the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. But if I had to put money, I'm saying that's the AFC title game because they're just hard to beat in their buildings. And we don't know what happens in this Texans-Steelers game. I think the Steelers get smoked by the Patriots, but I think they beat the Texans, and I think the Texans can dominate the Patriots. So it's like, it's one of those where styles make fights and matchups make fights, and we're probably not going to get that. And, just it sucks, man. It sucks because I think Justin Herbert is absolutely ridiculous, but just something about him in the playoffs. Last thing on this game, we got to monitor the status of Christian Gonzalez. He left with a head injury.
Yeah.
I think he'll be playing. They do play the Sunday game because they weren't going to have the teams playing on Monday Night Football play Saturday. So let's wait and see what happens there. George, before we sign off, you have a Monday winner.
Monday winner for me, similar to you, it's going to be that 49ers +7. I mean, I think that number is just so appealing. And I mean, aside from the +7, I'm going to sprinkle money line on that as well, because if they're able to cover that spread, chances are they're going to have a chance in the last 2 minutes to win the ball game. And I like their chances a lot. Dare I say, Nick, one of these games that, we had a lot of close playoff games this week, minus the Chargers-Patriots one getting somewhat out of hand. This game, either way, it's going to be a very convincing win. And I think the 49ers can really put it on the Seahawks here. Especially given the whole rest versus rust debate. Like, I would way rather be the Bills, be the Niners, understand who you are in a big time playoff situation than be the Seahawks and be the Broncos sitting at home and a chance to not only like embarrass your fan base, but miss your mark and miss your opportunity. I don't think the Seahawks will ever get a number 1 seed again. given the fact that this NFC West is so fucking stacked. And the Seahawks were able to do it this year just because of a little bit of the injury luck that plagued the Rams and that plagued the Niners. So the Seahawks, similar to the Patriots, benefited for their strength of schedule, whatever. They might not be back in this same exact spot ever again. And I think that the pressure between that, Sam Darnold, and a big game, this game could get ugly. I like the 49ers here. Who's your Monday winner?
Kind of with you there on that, man. You know, 3 of the 4 games you're probably going to have home underdogs. You know, Denver opened up at 1.5 underdog. That game is a pick 'em now. You have an underdog in Chicago. I'd probably take the dogs just blindly. You know, underdogs crushed it 4-1 were the underdogs on wildcard weekend. And then, of course, pending tonight, you might trust me and your toxic one Steelers. Let's see. George, let's sign off. We will see everybody on Thursday with divisional round preview and maybe even a little Miami versus Indiana talk, brother. Let's do that.
Oh, yeah, we got to.
All right, everybody. Thank you
All
for
right, peace.
200,000 subscribers on your Welcome Network. We are happy to contribute to that, and we're happy to have you guys on board with Veterans Minimum, the number 1 sports vibe on the internet. Peace.
Later.
I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.